Hey y'all, hi. So, Sephora sale season is once again upon us, and today I am just delivering a quick little video about why I always skip the Sephora sale. I have made a lot of videos about what I call sale survival, making it through a major sale, an exciting, recurring beauty sale without overspending and without ending up buying a bunch of things you wouldn't have otherwise bought. There's a playlist of these videos, and I'll link that playlist in the description down below. And today's video is going to be a somewhat more personal angle on the topic. If this is your first time to my channel, I hope you enjoyed the video. My name is Hannah. I make beauty and fashion content, but I try not to promote overspending. If this seems like a good place for you, maybe consider subscribing. I would love that. And now let's go ahead and get right into the meat of the video. All right, two main reasons why I always skip the Sephora sale. Reason number one is the history. The history between the Sephora sale and me. It's a long history, but I will just spotlight for you what was actually the last time that I shopped the Sephora sale in earnest, which was the sale in the fall of 2017. So back in the fall of 2017, Joe and I had moved to LA that year. We had moved to LA in April of that year. Bills were high and income was just enough to cover those bills. We were running a small business, making tango clothes at that time. And it was exciting that the business was enough for us to live in LA, to pay our rents and eat. But especially at that time, within the first year or two of us kind of getting there and getting settled, there was never anything really left over. So I had almost nothing. I had essentially nothing in my bank account. I felt stable, you know what I mean? We were living in LA, we were doing okay, but I didn't have any spending money. And because we ran our own business, I didn't have the prospect of my bank account being replenished in any serious way in the future. It was just a time of austerity. We were settling in, working hard, not spending, and hoping that the business would grow. But I had arrived on the scene with a rabid spending problem, particularly on beauty. I had been trying to rein it in, or at least thinking about trying to rein it in. But when that fall Sephora sale rolled around, I went out to the big, shiny Sephora in Marina del Rey, and I just lost myself in it for hours. Walking around the store, putting stuff into my basket, trying to discover things, hoping to discover things that I hadn't even known that I wanted, so that I would get that thrill of wanting them and then being allowed to buy them. Because it was the sale, I basically felt like everything was free. I was really in this bubble where, because it was the Sephora sale, my financial constraints were temporarily non-existent. Like, knowing what the deal was with my bank account, with my financial situation, was incompatible with the fact of the Sephora sale. I remember that there wasn't even really anything that I had been desperately wanting or anything that I really, really needed for my skin, for example. I spent the time drumming up working hard to drum up excitement for things that I hadn't been planning on buying, and then convincing myself to buy them. I spent about $250 on that in-person shopping trip to Marina del Rey, which I didn't have, again, in my bank account. I put it on a credit card. And then a week later, right when the sale was wrapping up, I went online and I spent another $200 right before the sale ended. I felt like I had to get it under the wire and make those purchases before the sale ended, and Sephora went back to charging real money instead of Monopoly money? What did I think that I was spending? But I just had this powerful sense that spending during the sale wasn't the same as regular spending. It felt like all bets were off, like it was a free-for-all, a license to do this, and I ended up spending $500, almost $500 overall. At a time, again, which was supposed to be a time of austerity, a time of saving instead of spending. And if it hadn't been for the sale, I would likely have bought none of those things that month. I would likely have spent none of that money. None of it was even stuff that I needed. As many of you know, I started my no-buy year just a few months after that, at the very beginning of 2018. And if you don't know about my no-buy year and you're curious, check the description box. I'll link some playlists down below. But the thing is, the debt from that Sephora sale, the repercussions of it, both in money and in stuff, followed me into the no-buy year. So it was $500 more that I had to pay down on my credit card, $500 more worth of stuff, makeup and skincare that I dragged with me into the new year and, tried to make good use of. And slowly, as the year unfolded, realized that some of it I would probably never even be able to use up. So since my no-buy year, I've never shopped the Sephora sale. And I've changed a lot since then. My relationship with consumerism has improved a lot, and so have my finances. So if I were to go and shop the sale now, I wouldn't behave the way that I behaved then. I shop overall more austerely now, and in theory, I have the self-control now to be a smart sale shopper or to use the sale to my advantage. I imagine that if I did shop the sale, I would get 1 or 2 staple items that I'm pretty sure I'm going to be replacing within the next couple of months, like the Benefit Brow Wax and my NARS Spot Concealer, which is running low and getting kind of grody, and it's really time to replace it. And, I might buy an eyeshadow palette that I'm planning to review, or that you all have asked me to review, and I don't know, a piece of skincare that fits a spot in my skincare routine that's about to open up. Like, I could see myself going to the Sephora sale and getting those 4 things. And that would all make sense for me. It would be reasonable, and I would save a little bit of money by getting it during the sale instead of buying it the week before or the week after. But it just doesn't feel good. Even after all these years, the memory of that little Hannah deluding herself so thoroughly, or, being deluded by Sephora and by the culture of this sale specifically, it's still like a memory that's locked in the cells of my body. And I don't fancy visiting that place again. And how much money would I really save? If I did buy my brow wax, my concealer, a palette, a piece of nice skincare, my cart might approach $200. So then I would be saving what, $36, $38? I would pay that much. I would take out my wallet and pay that much in a heartbeat to stop myself from having to go through those sad sale shopping motions again. So that's quite a personal reason that has to do with my own personal history. But reason number 2 is a little bit more rational, a little bit more to do with the logic of sale shopping. The second reason why I always skip the Sephora sale is that timing my own spending is worth more to me than the sale savings. I'll explain what I mean. Say that there are these 4 things that I might feasibly buy at Sephora: the brow wax, the concealer, the palette, the skincare. There are, as we approach the sale, 3 possible scenarios. Scenario 1, I miss the sale. I accidentally miss the sale. I buy them after the sale and I spend almost $200. Scenario number 2, I buy them during the sale and I spend around $160. Scenario number 3, I don't buy them at all this month. I just don't shop at Sephora this month, and I spend $0. One of these things is not like the other. It's choice number 3, spending $0. Even from this place of generally better shopping decisions and much healthier finances, 5 years after my no-buy, even from here, there is a good chance, that choice number 3, not shopping at Sephora and spending $0, is the best choice of those 3 for me in any given month. There's a big difference between spending $160 and spending nothing. Even if I have the spending money sitting happily in my bank account, waiting to be spent on something lovely, if I'm budgeting and I'm weighing my options about what I spend my spending money on, that $160 difference is everything. That's $160 that I can't spend on new shoes or a summer dress as the seasons change, or save for a bigger purchase like a new rug. In light of that difference, the difference between 0 and 160, the difference between the 160 and the almost 200 is small potatoes, right? It's not worth that $30 or $40 to have my hand forced, to have between $150 and $200 whisked out of my bank account by Sephora at a time that isn't the time that I chose to spend that large amount of money at Sephora. If I'm going to spend $200 or most of $200 $200, which is what $160 is, if I'm gonna spend most of $200 at Sephora, I wanna do that at a time when it makes total sense for me, my finances, my budget, and my desires. And it's not worth $35 to me to be caused to spend that money at a time when it doesn't make the most sense for me, or when it only makes partial sense for me, or when I wasn't really planning on it, or even at a time when it actually sounds kind of great, but I wouldn't have done it otherwise. Choice, total freedom of choice over when I buy the stuff that I buy is worth more to me than $35 of savings on 4 things that I might or might not ever have bought and that are costing me most of $200 either way. And another simpler way of saying this is I would rather shop at my leisure, even if it means paying full price. And I know that it might sound weird to hear me say that because it's so not the culture here. It's so not the thing. It probably makes me sound like money bags over here, right? I'm like, I would just rather waltz in when it's not a sale and pay full price and buy whatever I want. But this is the thing. The reason that I would rather shop when things are full price and shop at my leisure is that I'm trying to save money. And I'm aware that shopping during sales is a primary culprit for causing beauty lovers to overspend on beauty overall. It is very, very difficult during a sale to hold on to perspective about the overall cost of things, the price of things. If $100 feels like too much for you to pay for an eyeshadow palette, but then it goes on sale and it's $85 or $90 and you're like, I can afford that, that's not logical. That's the sale tricking you. Typically, sales don't actually save you money. They cause you to spend. They cause you to spend more. That's why Sephora is doing this. If by having a sale twice yearly, Sephora was going to cause its customers to save a bunch of money on Sephora purchases, then that would mean that Sephora itself was losing a bunch of money. And they wouldn't do it. They have these sales because it causes people to spend more. It causes us to overspend. And that is why I'm opting out. I want to hold on to my rational hat. I want to make my own decisions in my own time. And I know for a fact, an absolute financial fact, that when I skip the Sephora sales in a year, I save money in that year. So that's it. Those are my 2 primary reasons for skipping the Sephora sale. I know that skipping the sale isn't for everyone. Not everyone has my history with overspending, and some people are iron-willed and only ever shop during the sales, like truly only, which is the way, I feel like the one way to really make it make sense. So, I'm not saying that you have to do what I do, but if you are teetering on the edge of being caught up in it, like caught up in the whirlwind in a way that goes beyond what makes sense for you, and I hope that this video was able to ground you a little bit. I appreciate you all so much for watching. Quick reminder again to subscribe if you haven't done that yet and it seems like something you'd like to do. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.